Hello, guys, and welcome to TVM Academy. This is VARC 100, a free practice course for CAT Purple section, RC number 37 of the series. Let's begin. So, in the first paragraph, author tells you that building new towns is not a solution to urban problems in India. In the second paragraph, he says the present planning and legislation are ineffective. The third paragraph, he tells you that such projects will only lead to movement from existing cities of a disproportionate number of high income families, thereby causing economic decline in existing cities. And in the fourth paragraph, he says laws in this regard lack teeth in India. And finally, he proposes that better policy and legislation are required to build new towns with an appropriate goal in mind that we need to alleviate stress on existing cities, or we need to ease India's urban problems. That should be the goal of new towns. Okay. To the questions. According to the passage, which of the following is true? Option A, the idea of new towns originated in Europe. The passage never mentions that it originated in Europe. We don't know about the origin of this idea. The only fact presented in the passage is that Europe has already implemented the idea of new towns. It has already built new towns. But did the idea originate in Europe, or are there other towns also? Were there towns prior to Europe that implemented the same idea? We don't know. Option B. The Britain's new town formula differs from that of other European countries. There's no such differentiation between Britain's and other countries' new town formula. Alien idea, we don't know. There is a clearly stated purpose of building new towns in India, contradictory to what the passage suggests. Last paragraph, author says the objectives of building new towns should be clearly stated. And that's the problem. Right now, they are not clearly stated, which means option C is contradictory. Option D, incentives and penalties will be necessary to make a new town formula workable in India. Okay, workable. Last paragraph again. Author says its objectives should be clearly stated, and both incentives and penalties should be provided to ensure that the objectives are pursued, to make sure that the objectives are pursued. Therefore, yes, according to the author, penalties and incentives are necessary to make a new town formula workable. Option D should be the correct answer. Question 2, author believes that new towns are not being built where they are genuinely needed, because what is the reason why they are not being built in the places where they are genuinely needed? Second last paragraph, he had said the promoters of new towns so far in India have been developers, builders, and financial institutions, and their main interest is economic gain, profit. So they are driven by economic motives. That's one reason why new towns are not being built where they're genuinely needed. So correct answer has to be option B, a direct question. No rocket science here. Question 3 was interesting. It was a nice question, this one. According to the author, ill-considered new towns will tend to weaken the existing cities in which of the following ways. Okay. So author had mentioned a lot of ways. He said such ill-considered new towns projects will not only fail to relieve pressure on the existing cities, but will in fact tend to weaken those cities further by drawing away high income citizens and increasing the concentration of low income groups. Okay. So please imagine this in the entire scenario. Try to visualize it. The new towns will attract high income people from existing cities, and therefore these existing cities will also the composition of the concentration of low income groups will increase. The percentage of low income groups will increase in this existing city. So let's say there are 100 people in a city right now, for example, hypothetical scenario. If there are 100 people living in a city, another new town is built, another new city is built. Out of these 100, let's say 40 are high income, 60 are low income. These 40 people will move to the new town, leaving behind the 60 people only. So the percentage dynamics are tweaked, therefore revenues will suffer. Tax revenues will suffer. That's what this paragraph tells us. Okay. Option A. They will cause an erosion in the revenue base of existing cities. Correct. Option 1 has to be correct. Written here. The remaining taxpayers will face increasing burdens and industry and commerce will seek escape. So they will not be able to pay up the taxes. Also, the high income group has left. Therefore, they are unable, the ones who are left behind are unable to provide tax income. So yes, they will cause an erosion in the revenue base of existing cities. That's correct. They will cause displacement of industry and residents from existing cities to other areas. Now, please note first, it was a very tempting choice and probably this is the only answer choice that you had to examine, evaluate carefully. Displacement, what does it mean? It will cause displacement of industry. Displacement is forced. Displacement of industry, displacement of residents. Displacement is forced. However, here the words used were the new towns, ill-considered new projects will weaken the existing cities by drawing away the high-income citizens, by drawing away, by attracting them. So they're not displacing, they're not forcefully or forcibly displacing the citizens, residents of a particular area, of a particular city. They're drawing them away, they're attracting them. So this word is wrong. The meaning changes. That's one problem in option 2. Second problem, not all the residents from existing cities will move to other areas, other towns. Because if that were so, these new towns are meeting their objectives. The objective of building new towns was the same, to release pressure on existing cities so that some population can move from these cities to the new towns. So residents, if residents start moving, then there's no problem. In fact, it is meeting its expectations or objectives. But disproportionate number of high income residents are moving. So the movement is biased. Option 2, statement 2 misses that important point here. It does not say that disproportionate movement will happen. It only says that residents will move. If residents are moving, then there's no problem at all. In fact, objectives are being met, right? So option 2 is wrong. Option 1 is right. Option 3, they will increase. Anyway, we don't have to check statement 3 because there's no such option which says 1 and 3. There's only option 1 left. So correct answer, option A. A tempting choice, probably a tricky question, a high level question, difficult question, this one, especially because of statement 2. If you got this one right, please pat yourselves on the back. Well done. According to the passage, as compared with the Indian new towns, European new towns have been designed with greater concern for what? Okay. It was clearly written in this paragraph, second penultimate paragraph, that the new towns in India do not consider social needs as the European new towns do. So simple, the European new towns place greater concern on social needs. Option A has to be the direct answer. Last question. It can be inferred from the passage that the author believes which of the following about suburbs. Another moderate to difficult level question. If you got this moderate level, I would say. If you got this one right, again, pat yourselves on the back. What does the author believe about suburbs? Now, please understand his nature of discussion, his tone here. He says, present planning, thinking, and legislation, laws will not produce the kinds of new towns that are successful abroad. They will only multiply suburbs. And therefore, according to the author, suburbs are not as good as the new towns that we need. Suburbs are not as good as new towns. From these two sentences, it can be inferred. He says, the present planning, policy making, thinking, and legislation will not produce the kinds of new towns that have been successful in other countries. They will only multiply suburbs, which means according to the author, suburbs are not as good. They're insufficient somehow. They're insufficient, they're not as good. Which means the correct answer has to be option C. Suburbs, according to the author, are poor models for new towns. They're not as good as new towns. They are poor models for new towns. They are a panacea for urban problems, contradictory. Panacea means a remedy, a solution to a problem. In the first sentence itself, author has said that it is erroneously assumed. It is erroneously assumed that they are a cure-all. They are not a cure-all. They are not a panacea. They will soon be plagued by the same problems that now plagues cities. Alien idea beyond the scope of discussion. Author has not said that. Author has not predicted anything about them, that whether or not they will face the same problems. In fact, he's only said that high-income groups will gravitate towards these new towns. We don't know whether they will later, these cities will also face the same problems or not. They drive up the property values in the inner cities. Again, alien idea. Nothing of this nature is ever mentioned in the passage. So, option C. Hope you enjoyed the passage. Hope you got all of them right, especially questions, the difficult ones, I think 3 and 5. So, keep practicing, keep improving. Cheers to learning, guys.